guys? So let's talk about chapter 22 through 24, To Kill a Mockingbird. So Atticus and then the children start talking about the definition of trash. So Atticus says that any white man who takes advantage of black man and cheats a black person is trash, no matter how wealthy the person is and no matter how good of a family he comes from. So I think what Atticus is trying to say is that the status, the social status or economic status or the physical appearance, any external aspect of a person doesn't determine his value. But then what truly determines a person's value is how he treats other people, especially how he treats other people who are considered weak and who are considered disadvantaged in society. So, my personal opinions are aligned with Atticus' view because I think that a person's worth is determined by the size of his heart, how generous the person is, and how um, sympathetic the person is. So, there is this quote that I really like. I forgot who said it. And then it goes like this: the worth of a person's life is determined by the amount of kindness that he or she has shown throughout his life. Well, I try to be kind, but it's really hard many times. So, well, I'll try to remember. So if we try to be kind and nice to other people, especially who are considered weak and disadvantaged and underprivileged, then I think at least that person is not going to call it a trash. And to avoid becoming such a person, I think education is really important. So I don't think education is a way to achieve success. So we're gathered at this classroom and we're reading this book, To Kill a Mockingbird, together. Can we make money out of reading this book? I don't think so. Is this going to guarantee us a ticket to a good university or a good salary? I don't think so. But while reading these books and then while reaping valuable lessons out of this, I think we can become more mature. So education is very important to become such a person, and then self-reflection is also very important. So we lose um, being objective when we consider ourselves, your own self. So I think it's very important to maintain an objective view towards oneself. Yes, and then reflect on one's behavior and contemplate one's behavior. Then at least we can avoid becoming a trash. And then throughout these chapters, Jim and Scout are talking about the categories of people, the categories of folks, and then they're little children, so they're grappling with why the adults are discriminating against certain groups of people. They just don't understand, and they're trying to come up with their own concepts of different types of people. So this is the first version. So Jem says that, well, Scout, I think there are four kinds of people. People like us with family name, and ordinary folks like Cunninghams, who are just like farmers and fishermen, and then evils who are white but then considered very low, and then the black people. But then there is this contradiction that Scout makes. She says that, hey, but I've seen Atticus our dad fiddling on the radio, which is considered ordinary people's music. And I've seen Atticus drinking a lot of pot liquor, which is considered ordinary people's drink. Then that first definition crumbles down. And then Jim comes up with a rebuttal. He says that, hey, Scout, it's about family name. And then Scout says, so if family name is determined by how old the family is, when I asked Atticus about this, some time ago, Atticus explained that any family is as old as any other family, even black people. They have a long history. And then Jem shouts back, well, Scout, it's not about how old the family is. It's about how old the family has been reading and writing. Um, and then Jem, he's still a little kid, and he says that maybe the Finch family, there was a one member in Finch family in ancient Egypt, and he started reading the hieroglyphs in Egypt, and that was the fun part that made me crack up. Well, anyways, and Scout, an innocent girl, she says that just by the ability of reading and writing, you determine a worth of a family. I don't think so. Everybody has a equal chance to learn. And if you look at Walter, my schoolmate, he's really smart, but then he just didn't have time to learn because he has to stay out in the field and help out his daddy. So I think everybody has to learn. And then if everybody has that equal opportunity, I think there is just one kind of folks. There are no categories, there are no divisions of folks, they're just folks. I think this is the central message that Harper Lee is trying to deliver to the readers. So I think she wanted to point out there is fundamental equality that transcends the superficial differences, like our skin color, our status, social status, or the level of wealth. So Harper Lee is trying to underscore the empathy and then the fact that we have to reduce our prejudice against other groups of people. So it's really sad that Tom Robinson doesn't even get a chance for an appeal, and he, while trying to escape from the prison, he gets shot and then gets killed. I think Tom Robinson just lost hope in the justice system in general, and that he thought that even if he went on to the appeals, there are really slim chances of winning, so he just chose to end his life. So it's really sad. And then I think he decided it'd be better to have his last bit of freedom of ending his own life rather than going through all the dehumanizing processes and all the treatments that he will have to endure. And then the ladies led by Aunt Alexandra has a missionary circle meeting at Finch House. And it's really funny because those ladies, they talk about the trials and then the difficulties that a distant African tribe is having, while their comments at the black people in their own town are full of are full of disregard. So I think this shows the hypocrisy of the upper class, and then they're really pious, which means that they are faithful. They have faith in God, but then this is very superficial. So God taught his students that if you believe in God, the first rule is to love your God, and then the second rule is to love one another as your own self or as God. So loving one another would be the main principle of Christianity, but then they are disregarding the black people in their own community, and they're extending their grace towards the African people that are so distant. I think there is contradiction, and I think there is major hypocrisy in the so-called respectable society. And then Aunt Alexandra keeps trying to teach Scout how to behave like a lady. Um, and then Scout is really struggling. And then we see that the society in the 1930s of America are full of the constraints and restrictions of traditional gender roles. Okay, so this is about it. Thank you so much.